I'm already into the 420, damn it.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Hello. What's going on? As Len wakes right up. Lenny's asleep today.
No, I am watching the Blue Jays lose.
Who's losing?
Oh, first game?
Yeah.
Is it the first game of the is it a series?
Playoffs, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they made it to the playoffs, did they?
Yes.
Huh. Awesome.
And
I
they're
guess.
going to be in an elimination game tomorrow already.
Are you serious? That it's going to go that quick?
It's the wild card series. They're only 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
Wild card.
I'm just watching this pitcher from Seattle. He's hit 101 and 103 miles an hour.
You can hear Marcel breathing. He's climbing stairs.
No, what? I just come into the room. And you know what? I have not seen a baseball game since I was with Lennie at a baseball game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't watch baseball.
I love baseball, but
I don't watch any sports, really.
the playoffs I really enjoy.
I don't follow sports. I just like making fun of people who do. Like, because the ones that, hope for really crappy teams like Montreal fans.
So if you're watching us on Facebook or listening to us on the station, or you'll notice that if you go to 420radio.ca, our video is actually on the website as well. Jack is supposed to join us. He is a very busy man. I'm sure he'll pop in when he gets a minute. He did say the other day that he was available for a little bit.
Oh, did you message him tonight to let him know?
I messaged him this morning. And I messaged him this morning to give him the link and,
Oh.
Yeah.
Like you said, he agreed to join you at some point. Just didn't say what point.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping, if he remembers. So what's up, guys? We know Len's upset because the Blue Jays are losing.
I'm not particularly a Blue Jay fan, to be honest, but
Are you a Red Sox fan or something?
I'm totally a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
Oh, and Al is here. Al Graham is here. I forgot. I'm sorry, Al. It's because you're in the dark. I can't see you.
Dark. Well, I figure, darkness, Avatar.
This is
my
Al.
hand.
This is not Al Graham. This is Al from Anonymous.
Yeah. Don't you recognize the voice?
You know what?
Hi, Dale.
Yeah. Hi, Dale. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're all right.
Good.
How are you?
Did you get your chimney fixed?
No, not yet. The insurance guy was out last night to have a look at it and take some pictures.
Now, the week before insurance guy comes around here.
Really? You guys got damaged that much?
Next door did.
Yeah.
How
about your plants?
Yeah, well.
Oh, no.
We won't talk about those. Let's just say,
Are
as much as I hate dry trimming cannabis, I have a large portion in a barn being dried. So,
wow. I've got mine are sitting in the greenhouse with a fan blowing on it, and we're going to go look at them later.
Is it an oscillating fan?
It is.
Good. Make sure it oscillates.
Nice and warm.
Nothing worse than going to a green room and seeing all the fans sit in one direction.
No, I've got it. I've got them kind of. Well, you'll see when we go in. But I've got them kind of like dink, dink, and then the fans in the corner, so it's blowing on everything, right?
Yeah.
But
they're extremely important.
And I've got no heat source in there. It's actually quite warm. I'm surprised.
Yeah, well, it can hold a lot of heat once it gets warmed up in the day.
Yeah,
because it's a double pane, right?
It's kind of. It's sort of.
The panels are like thick panels, corrugated panels.
Yeah, and
or is it just one solid piece of plastic?
No, it's corrugated. It's that polycarbonate crap.
Yeah. So what happens is that in between acts as an insulation barrier, so to keep heat in and cold out, or vice versa, if you want.
But at night it really drops.
Yeah.
Right. Like I went out the other night and I was like, "Burr, I hope you ladies are all right." The thing's blowing cold air on them and stuff. But I went out this afternoon and they were happy as a fucking pig and shit, just like.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's chilly in there, but a night like tonight, they won't be getting covered in frost.
No.
Well, but being in the greenhouse, they won't get covered in frost anyways.
Correct. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They have been out in the frost. For sure, they were out one night in the frost, and they're fine.
They're forecasting snow for your area sometime soon.
I know.
Like this week. Didn't I say that snow would be coming like in October?
I'm told it's usually, sometimes Halloween there's a layer of snow already on the ground. So, but we've seen that in the city too. You've seen that.
I seen that as a kid.
Yeah,
I remember those days, Al.
Even as you bundle your kids up.
What's that?
You bundle your kids up. Even as an adult, I've seen it that bad because you got your kids all bundled up, take them out for Halloween, and then you gotta dress them up in winter clothes, and they cover you cover their kids' Halloween costume.
We had our Halloween costumes over our clothes. And
I honestly don't remember us ever having snow on Halloween here.
No,
I did as a kid once. I remember.
Did you? I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember ever having. I mean, we've
It
had
wasn't
some pretty
often, and it wasn't a lot.
We've had some pretty wet, miserable Halloweens, and
that tends to be the norm now.
Yeah, but
cold.
And I remember wearing winter clothes with costume over it, but only because it was cold. There wasn't snow, I don't think. I don't know, a long time ago.
You get a Robin Hood costume over your winter clothes.
Yeah, but then you look like Friar Tuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going out as a white skeleton, but I looked like the Michelin Tire Man.
I remember the Batman outfits. I think David was Batman like I think 4 years in a row, and then Spider-Man like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah, right.
We should play that song tonight.
Which song?
The Max Sabbath one.
We've played that before, buddy.
Max Sabbath?
Yeah, I showed it a while ago. It's very fun.
They actually did a good job of that.
They did. I saw it today. It's the first time I
They're
seen
an
it.
actual band.
Yeah, Informed Juggalos.
Yeah.
Blue Jays officially lost.
No. So tomorrow
officially lost.
Game's over.
Oh.
They're not playing at home, obviously.
They were losing 4-0 into the ninth. They were pending a loss. Now the 3 outs, it's officially a loss.
4-0 in the ninth, pending. Yeah, that's pending. Pretty much pending.
So what does that mean for them? They're out now?
No, they got to win tomorrow or they're out.
Okay. And every game after that?
Well, there's the series is only 2 out of 3, so they got to win Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So Jack hasn't seen my thing yet, so something's come up. But if he can, he will show up. So we're just going to continue as we do. Mm-hmm. Somebody was saying something? No.
Oh, yeah, I was asking Lennie if is there 2 games in one park and 1 game in another park?
I think this is the first year that it's the advantage of the wild card, and because they want it over quick. All 3 games are in Toronto.
Is this the first year that they're televising and doing the whole thing again? This is the first year back, isn't it?
Oh, it's always been on TV.
Yeah, but they had no audience for like 2 years. And they shut them down for a year.
They had people last year in the playoffs.
Did they?
The year before, you're right.
Was it a full stadium?
Trying to remember. I think it was, wasn't it?
Here? It wasn't here today.
Oh, well, no, I don't even know. The Blue Jays did get to play in Canada last year, halfway through the season. No, they had fans. It was the year before they had none.
Yeah, maybe it was at reduced numbers.
Yeah. Oh, it was reduced numbers forever, but the Blue Jays didn't make the playoffs last year anyway.
No,
they had the fans going last year because I remember the Red Sox were in the playoffs. It was packed.
I haven't
maybe Canada may have had those half-ass stadiums.
I don't remember the last game I went to.
Oh,
I do.
Sorry.
It's pretty easy. It was in Toronto.
Sky Dome or Exhibition Place?
Sky Dome.
Sky Dome.
It was when they came in.
Rogers Center.
I was there with Lennie and Darcy.
Yeah.
Rogers. Well,
Did you go to the game, Al?
No, I didn't go to the game. You guys didn't invite me. No, I didn't go to the game. You guys went after lunch at
Darcy and I have gone a couple of games.
Yeah, we have.
After we went to the
went to the Pride game. We went to the Pride game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was able to melt Darcy's physical deficiency and get a good seat.
Yeah. I had to laugh.
Traveling with Darcy to a game is pretty awesome because you can get to where you want to be really fucking quick.
And you can sit at the back near the beer.
Special access stuff.
Oh, yeah. We had a great seat. A great spot.
Yeah, good seat. Quick entrance in with Darcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get good seating, that's for sure. Not for fucking concerts, though. Sucks for concerts because I bought floor tickets right at the Metro Center, and then when I went to go on the floor, they said, no, you can't go on the floor with your wheelchair. Well, then why the fuck would you sell me the tickets?
Because you didn't tell them you had a wheelchair.
Obviously, she can see I'm in a chair. I'm buying the tickets from a person.
Okay, but here's the other thing about floor tickets and you're in a wheelchair. Everybody stands up on the floor. All you're doing is sitting there looking at somebody's ass all night.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yep.
Hey,
I think you were better off, Darcy.
I had floor tickets for George Thorogood. It was fucking awesome.
Did you go in the mosh pit?
I was second row back.
The person in front didn't stand up?
No, actually, they were like, yeah, you can go right to the front if you want, man. I'm like, no, I'm good right here. And they kind of stood off to the side.
See? Because every time I've gone on the floor, they've all stood up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's fine if you're young and you can stand.
Yeah, true enough.
But if you're in a wheelchair, you're kind of looking at everybody's ass all night.
So you guys want to talk about weed?
Sure.
Maybe.
Hey, I want to talk about something.
Hey, hold on. I have a bunch of articles that I'd like to talk about this evening, and I loaded them because I wanted to ask Jack and talk to him about them. But we're going to continue.
Serious,
okay, so then maybe
not really serious. It's just we haven't done a show in a couple of weeks, and there's been some things going on like this review and mushrooms, and now Alberta, and so
and the States,
and even in the States, yes, and in
they
Florida.
just let out a whole bunch of people.
Yep, and they're gonna, So I mean, Florida has a mushroom shop now, a dispensary, as well. It's the first in the U.S. So I mean, there's lots to talk about. They're all I put them all in our thing. If you guys want to have a look at them before we talk about it, I just want to make sure we brought that up. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm looking I'm looking at whether or not this. Well, I know it's not going to do anything anyways, but the survey thing from Health Canada.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Probably the thing that I say so far that I know the worst of it, but I've been told, is question 5.2, which basically asks whether you believe that the medical program should continue. That's not the exact wording, but basically that's what it comes down to. Should the stores that are there available now should that be sufficient in order to deal with the medical market?
No, because they have insufficient products for the medical market.
I don't recall it phrasing the question that way.
I'm just starting the survey, so
Al, like we used to do, Marcel, Al actually sat in on the press conference we had, Len, and he recorded it, and it's up on our website if anybody wants to listen to it. So he listened to what they were saying.
No, but I didn't. I did the survey already.
Did you already? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't recall a question being phrased that way.
Yeah,
do you think it's continue as is the way I recall reading it?
What was it?
I thought I recall reading, do you think the medical cannabis program should continue as is? I didn't interpret it as stopping it. I took it as an opportunity. Do you want it to change or improve?
Sounds like that they're considering doing something.
Well, I know it's fucking happening. It's going into pharmacy.
Yeah. So continue as is. So obviously they're looking
and then people can still go and get their distillates.
But that's what I think is leading.
I could see them minimum doing something with the designated growers and the numbers.
You think they'll go up or down? I know they've been talking about removing EGs for a while.
I think they're going to try to bring the grammage down and deal with the designated grower program. Part of it.
Wow.
Because that's what I'm always seeing when we do the news. I'm always reading law enforcement and municipalities complaining about loopholes and the designated program because of the large numbers and four gardens being in one location.
I'm going to do the survey while we're sitting here.
Right.
There's a lot of places to put comments. It does take a while if you're doing it.
That's okay. I can
about 2 hours.
Are you serious?
I don't know if it was that long. Maybe 25
What
minutes.
is your view of the current legislative and regulatory restrictions in place to safeguard public health?
Jack will be here in 5 minutes, he said.
What is my view on that? Overkill?
So let's load this up and we can, while we're talking to Jack, I'm going to do it.
I'm doing it now, so okay. I'm just trying to think.
You do it. You read better anyways.
Yeah. So what is your view of the current legislative and regulatory restrictions in place to safeguard public health? I think they're the best thing ever.
What are they giving you options or do you just type it in?
You got to type it in.
Oh, we'll just say it sucks.
It's overkill. Overkill. That's my answer. I already know what's going to happen to these anyway, so minimizing harms. What controls, if any, would you like to see changed and why?
Marcel, bring it up. Share your screen for this.
Nuh-uh.
Why?
Nuh-uh. You share your screen as I'm going along.
I'm on the other computer actually with it.
Oh.
Yeah. I found the spot that I was looking for. Now I'm not on the question.
But you're very muffled.
Am I okay? How is this now? Finger off the mic.
Yeah.
I'm on the Cannabis Digest article by Ted Smith. And in that article, he's got a spot and he says 5.2 is a distinct medical access program necessary to provide individuals with reasonable access to cannabis for medical purposes, or can access needs be met through the non-medical framework? So non-medical framework is the recreational stores.
Yeah.
I still don't think I read that question.
That's when that
Marcel, let me know when you get to that question.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't recall anything phrased that way.
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't done the survey.
Oh no,
So
no,
I
I mean
haven't-
no, and maybe they've changed the question since too, right?
Why don't you pull it up and do it as well, Al?
Well, I'm outside on my
you're on
phone.
your phone. Yeah. Nature boy.
Smoking my nature.
I miss sitting out at the farm at night. I really miss that. But I can do that here too. But you know, the animals are bigger here. They're more scary. If you saw my garbage can, you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not going out there at night."
Would you have moose, Al?
Yep. They wander right through
Next
town.
questions. Are the current safeguards adequately restricting access and helping to protect the health of youth? What?
I answered.
Oh, are they adequately restricting access and helping to protect the health of youth? No.
No.
Kids
find
can
out
get
about it anyway.
cannabis. Kids can get legal source cannabis as easily. They've always gotten legal source alcohol. There's no difference. Actually,
Yeah, Mia,
it's probably easier for them because it's less bulky to carry out of the store.
And you know what? I'll be honest. Yes, I'm older, but they are supposed to ask everybody for ID, and they don't. Where I used
Sure
to.
they do, and we used to just ask the guy on the way in that had ID to grab something for us.
Yep.
Right.
But I mean, they don't. They hardly ever ask unless somebody's standing there from OCS going, "Hey, you've got to ask."
There's so many locations where there's a store side by side by side. Al, you can go into this store, pick up an ounce for this person, or you could go to the next store and pick up an ounce, and then you can pick up another ounce next door and serve 3 minors if you want.
All you need is one 19-year-old friend.
Yeah.
And that was the same for alcohol when we were growing up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's the difference? And you know what? I have friends from back then that would do stupid things like get in their car and drive around the city of fucking Toronto's and get into fucking cop chases and shit like that because they thought they were the Blues Brothers. We're talking the 70s here. But I don't know anybody who's done anything like that on weed.
Yeah. No, and now that maybe we don't look like that person that would, we don't go in probably into the stores that often to see someone sitting out there waiting for you to come by and say, "Hey, sir, could you pick me up a bag of weed?"
I've never had anybody, and I was going into Ellesmere and Vic Park, which is a pretty not a great neighborhood, but it's not a bad neighborhood.
Here's the next question. Under the current framework, what presents the greatest risk to youth in accessing and consuming cannabis?
What?
Under the current framework, what presents the greatest risk to youth in accessing and consuming cannabis? Getting caught by the police.
Exactly. My answer too. I was just waiting for you to finish. The law. No.
That's the greatest risk.
It is.
It is. Yeah. To what extent have public education efforts delivered the appropriate messages and reached the appropriate audiences, including youth and young adults? Is that the mad ads?
Must be.
I don't even know how to respond to that one.
Well, I know in Quebec they said that your neck stretched like a giraffe if you consume cannabis.
Oh, Jack's here. Hi, Jack.
Hey guys, sorry I'm so slow.
It's okay. We're just going through the Marcel and Al are going through the survey.
The review.
The review survey. Yeah.
Okay, so the I guess the appropriate message is that they were trying to put out is you shouldn't drive while you're high. That's it.
Really.
That's the only advertising public education that I've seen. Don't drive high.
Yeah.
Well, some people, I'd rather you were fucking high or not drive at all.
Or Marcel, there was the one about the cookies.
What about it?
Make sure this little Timmy or somebody can't tell the difference between the two chocolate chip cookies.
That's fucking parental education. They don't learn that from watching mad ads.
Exactly. Every time I have something in the house, I make sure I tell the kids.
Yeah.
So they know.
I'll
give you an example. My parents were here visiting one day, and my parents, early on, my mother was kind of iffy about cannabis, even for medical purposes. And I had made a batch of brownies, and my mother was there when I made these, and I put them in the fridge, and she said, well, aren't you worried about Lily coming home and getting them? I said, no, I don't worry at all. A few minutes later, Lily came in the house and she opened up the fridge, said, oh, brownies. She looked at me, she said, are these yours or are these for everybody? I said, those ones are for me, and I'm making some for you now. She said, okay, closed the door and walked away. I looked at my mother and I said, see? Right? All you do is you educate your own kid. Don't expect the government to do it for you because they'll fuck that up.
You know what my mom said? She said to me, because I got caught drinking, and so the conversation we had is, I know you're going to go out there. I know you're going to experiment, and you're going to get into trouble. But please do it at home, so I know where you are and you're safe. And that's exactly example. David broke his finger this week, his knuckle, from roughhousing with his buddy, and everybody's freaking out about it. But Marcel, you're my age, so you'll agree. That's what we did when we were kids.
Yeah,
we broke things. Don't freak
Definitely.
out. Yeah, I think it's great. He's growing up, and it begins. What you eating, Jack?
Sorry, it's been such a crazy day. So
okay.
I'm just doing my munchies. I've got cheese, a bowl of nuts, and some ice cream.
Oh, it sounds like something I would enjoy. I like ice
Sorry,
cream.
in my head I was like, I hope this isn't rude, but I'm so hungry.
No, it's okay.
I started this show eating cake with medicated ice cream on it. So
just so you know, Jack, the other Al is Al Graham. He's outside though, so we can't see him.
I'm here, Jack. See
yeah, I was shaking, man. I can see Darcy and Lennie as well. That's cool. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
We're hanging out in the mushroom patch.
Cheese, nuts, and ice cream.
That sounds yummy. What kind of ice cream?
Ben and Jerry's, half baked. Chocolate and vanilla.
The half baked.
Yeah, I get the weed metaphor, but I just love the cookie dough taste that they put in it. Is so good.
My ice cream was the fully baked mocha.
Yes, it's really good, Jack. Marcel's is.
The only thing I'm able to stomach these days is the Chapman's Dutch chocolate, because there's no sugar added, so it doesn't tweak me out with the diabetes as much, right? But Al just lit his doobie. One of the things I love about you, Jack, is that when you're working, you're on. But when you're just Jack, you're just this normal, everyday stoner guy that eats munchies on podcasts.
So here I am, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
The longest running consecutive guest we've had almost 15 years, Jack has been on the show here.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yep.
There you go, Jack.
There's a badge to put on your Facebook page.
I think
so one of the people that used to work with me at Green Candy Press, like another editor there, she just published her first novel. It's pretty cool.
What kind of novel?
Dude, it's super trippy, actually. Okay, so it tells a story of this German doctor that was living in Florida. She would never write like a boring story. So this German doctor is married and his wife dies. He goes crazy and digs up her corpse and then lives with the corpse for like the next 20 years or something. And it's based on a true story.
Sounds like Jason. What's his Norman Bates Hotel?
I was thinking Psycho.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's based on a true story at that.
Yeah. So my copy just arrived, so I was like, oh man, Halloween.
Yeah.
So while we're chatting with Jack, Marcel's going through the.
I'm still stuck on that question, number 2.
What have you heard that maybe we haven't, that you can let us know about what they're actually going to do, what you're thinking they're going to do? What are your ideas there, Jack?
Well, they're massively late with their proposed review. In my view, their reassessment on tax is probably the most prescient. Although, the more that I look at the tax issue, the more that I think that there's pretty serious charter vulnerability to the government over it. And if a charter challenge was successful on behalf of a patient, the government would have to return any tax that they had brought in from it. But they'd also have to return any tax they'd taken from any medical patient. So you're talking years and years and years of taxes that they've collected from sick people that shouldn't be taxed for the products that they were purchasing. So it could be huge. So they are looking like they're going to make those amendments. Ultimately, that's the biggest change that, in my view, I see forthcoming is changes to the taxation system, and I think that owes largely to lobbying efforts from large corporations. And then the second one was actually, it wasn't released at the same time as the other notices, but they've essentially said that they're going to be in the near future. They're going to be allowing for what's called co-packing, which would allow for edibles to be packaged in the same facilities as other food products, which could be huge. So you might start seeing like Nestle getting its own standard processing license at its facility. And, they're making Snickers bars and then medicated Snickers bars. And I can even say I've seen an uptick in litigation around brands seeking to protect their intellectual property. So if somebody creates a phony weed brand that is ripping off, say, the Mars bar logo or whatever, they're pushing back hard on that. So I do think that those co-packing amendments are coming soon. Those are the big changes in my view.
Do you think that they're gonna? I mean, a lot of people are worried they're gonna scrap the medical program.
Yeah, I've seen. I've said that they want to do that since the introduction of the ACMPR. It was fairly clear that that's their goal.
Could you see them possibly just really scaling back on home grows?
They've been trying for years. It's never been successful, but that's why we go to court. So
yeah, thank you for that.
That's the main thing.
Would all the stores that we have in the country now, would that help them satisfy, I believe it's the Parker case, the requirement for access to medical cannabis? Because at that time there was no cannabis available for anybody to go to, and so there was no access. Well, now with thousands of stores across the country, could they use that as a reason to get out of that situation?
They could, but we're brought back to the Federal Court of Appeal in a case called Allard And the Allard decision made as a finding that price is a significant factor on the constitutional analysis for medical cannabis. So if your position is, well, look, you can go buy it for $8 a gram at a provincially regulated store, a recreational store, if that's your safety valve for the constitutionality of your prohibitions, I think you're on weak ground. So I just don't see it succeeding. I think really what Allard establishes is the fact that home gardens for medical patients allow for reasonable access that is affordable, right? Because you can get it for whatever, 30 cents a gram if you produce it yourself. So the stores are never going to be able to compete with that. So in my view, there's going to be litigation. It'll be a big fight. And I absolutely agree. The government wants to take away the medical cannabis program, right? But whether the government will be successful, because I think you've referenced the Parker decision, and there's numerous other decisions that follow Parker, like the Supreme Court of Canada basically cited Parker with approval in the Smith decision in 2015. Parker, of course, is Ontario Court of Appeal. Really what those cases are saying is that you need to have a constitutionally viable exemption program to prevent the violation of the charter rights of sick people, right? So we always do, and I'm guilty of this as well, but we always say we have a constitutional right to grow our medicine. That's not exactly what the court said, right? What the court said was you have to have a medical cannabis program that is constitutionally compliant in order to prevent the Section 7 charter rights of sick people from being violated. So it's there's a distinction between the foundation of the right, but I think the benefit is that distinction is very supportive of the right to grow cannabis at home, and it's certainly more than 4 plants at home. But I hear what you're saying. I do think they're trying to get rid of the medical cannabis program.
Well, it's good to know that the
Go ahead, Al.
was reinforced there in the other case.
Yeah.
Well, the prices are coming down. We see that, right? We're seeing it everywhere. What about the home growing? Are they going to take that from us as well? I mean, we've got 4 plants now, and there's talk that they're going to drop that.
Who's saying that they're going to drop the?
Rumors.
Okay. So there's currently 2 provinces where growing 4 plants at your home is prohibited: Manitoba and in Quebec. Quebec, that argument was recently heard by the Supreme Court of Canada, and in Manitoba, we're waiting for a ruling on the trial decision. I'm counsel on it for Tucson in the Toba grown case. So we're waiting to see if that's permissible for them to completely prohibit home growing on a provincial basis. But currently the federal government has made it lawful, and it remains to be seen whether a province is entitled to then prohibit that lawful entitlement. So I don't see that coming. I just think enforceability is so difficult that the 4 plants really makes sense.
Who would know? Who would know if you've got 4 plants sitting in your basement? Unless your neighbor's looking through your window all the time or looking over your fence, who the fuck cares? I mean, it is legal to grow in your backyard now, right?
Right.
I know that a couple of friends of mine in Midwestern Ontario have been ripped already. Did you guys? You guys got knocked down because of the storm out there and out east.
I didn't now, but I put all my plants in my garage, but
did you?
I never lost a bud. No, I still got 2 plants out there, but no one stole anything. And it's weird because I'm right in downtown now, and it's there's 500 college kids or high school kids that walk by my house every day, and my fence blew down, so I had to reposition my plants so they couldn't see them from the sidewalk.
Because you were living next to Dale, he's bad news, and he attracts.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Hey, Lenny, I got to that question.
Well, yeah, read. How's it read?
What
The
question?
question
Yeah.
is,
Here,
what
we'll
are your
let Jack eat here for a minute.
what are your views on the current medical program for cannabis?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
like
for me.
That's how the question's worded. What are your views on the current medical access program for cannabis?
yeah. I think that's how. That's why I said I didn't read it as maybe it's another question, Marcel, that everyone's freaking out about.
Let me answer this one, and I'll go to the next one.
Yeah, I just don't recall it being really that awful question.
Yeah, because it was an awful question.
Apples. That was an apple.
Well,
You
no,
also-
but wait. Sorry, go ahead, Darcy.
No, I was just going to say to you guys, you also got to understand the therapeutic benefits of growing your own cannabis too, right? Like just for your mind. I noticed a big difference in my wife this year because she was helping me with mine, and it made her happy. You know, it's just playing with nature helps you with stuff like that.
I enjoyed the last couple of weeks putting up the greenhouse, I have to admit. And it was a lot of work. 2 old farts that are broken with a couple of kids, and tools. It was fun.
And tools.
Yeah. Next is the fence. That's going to be another thing. Jack, what's going on with shroomies, man? I'm seeing all kinds of articles going on here, and even Florida's getting into the game.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So the only litigation ongoing in regards to the constitutionality of prohibiting access to psilocybin containing mushrooms for medical purposes is a case in the federal court in which a number of patients and one medical service provider are seeking to strike the law down, essentially saying that access is so delayed that it's effectively non-existent. Because, of course, the government is going to say that the special access program and the Section 56 exemption schemes are sufficient to make the prohibition acceptable. But so we have to challenge the constitutionality of those exemption schemes as well, which of course we're doing.
Wow, that
sounds complex.
Very exciting, yeah. So and it's a big fight, a very expensive fight. So there's a lot of great lawyers on that file, Paul Lewin, myself.
So basically, you got to challenge the laws that are set into place to help you.
Well, yes, as well as sections 4, 5, and 7 of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, which effectively prohibit the possession, sale, and production of psilocybin-containing mushrooms.
Wow.
So, and what's fun about it, there's a huge number of varietals of psilocin and psilocybin-producing mushrooms. So it's not just psilocybe cubensis. That's the most common form of a magic mushroom, but there's a whole host. It's been really fun seeing sort of the development of the different varietals of psilocybin mushrooms that are out there. But
I'd love to pick your brain one day about that, Jack.
Rock and roll, man. So,
all right, here's question 5.2 that everybody was getting in arms about. Is a distinct medical access program necessary to provide individuals with reasonable access to cannabis for medical purposes, or can access needs be met through the non-medical framework?
Oh, it did say that. Okay.
Yep.
Al, you have a picture up of Cindy on your profile picture. He must be switching. I didn't hear the question. Sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
You fucker. In a distinct Is a distinct medical access program necessary to provide individuals with reasonable access to cannabis for medical purposes, or can access needs be met through the non-medical framework?
So this is clearly the question that is causing people to say, hey, the government is considering getting rid of the medical cannabis program. Part of the problem is they're asking all Canadians that question, right? The only Canadians with a constitutional issue in relation to the medical cannabis program are those who are ill, have a physician's approval for medical cannabis use, and who are registered with the program, right? Those are the identified class of people who technically should be asked that question. I can guarantee 100% of that class of people will say yes. So I think there's a bit of a census data bias in the way that Health Canada is going about their assessment, but you have to expect that from them. I have said for years that their ultimate goal is the eradication of the medical cannabis program. Obviously, that's their goal. It always has been. Right? They're not our friends. They were dragged kicking and screaming into a scenario in which sick people could access cannabis as medicine, right? And now they're trying to get rid of it and to force everyone to use the government program where they have a strong case for taxation. But I think really the next big piece of fruitful litigation at the federal courts for medical cannabis is going to relate to the fact that they've been charging just an obscene amount of tax on the medicine. And it's a pretty serious issue. Actually, there's a law student, I think she's now a lawyer, who wrote a really wonderful paper on that subject. Basically that there's a case from the tax court called Hedges, Hedges, but it was dealing with someone that got hammered for taxes on their medical cannabis. It was ultimately unsuccessful, but I do think that based on Allard and the affordability arguments, it's a winner if in federal court litigating on Section 7 of the Charter and likely Section 15 of the Charter as well. So anyway, so that's my 2 cents. So like everyone is freaking out about that, saying, oh my goodness, it's happening. They're going to take away the program. Like, this is not the siren call, a warning call. Like the warning call has come for years, right?
I don't know. We gave that warning call back in 2010.
Yeah. They've been
because
trying to
in
get rid of it for
2010,
years.
yeah, but in 2010, Health Canada went around and had consultations with patient groups, dispensary owners, and they literally did the opposite of what everyone of those meetings told them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you trust these people?
Yeah.
We wanted medical programs. Everybody there knew it was for medical purposes, not a recreational thing. Yeah, here we get a recreational program, then threw the patients under the bus and charged them luxury tax on their medicine.
Luxury tax.
So that's what it is. It's literally a luxury tax.
Yeah, it's the only medicine that currently has tax applied to it. So it's a big problem. It's very unfair.
And it's literally millions or hundreds of millions of dollars a year that patients can't afford.
What exactly is their thinking behind that? I mean, why, I know they still don't call it medicine on their website.
Right, because you've got to think of who throws a hell of a lot of money into a lot of different things that would be impacted by cannabis being classified as a medicine.
But all the money that could be made if that classified,
not by those guys.
No, but still.
But those guys are the ones that are handing over the money hand over fist. We looked at this a few years ago, doing an application for a DIN number.
That's right. Yeah, I remember talking about that. Yeah.
All right. And in the application for a DIN number, it makes it pretty much impossible to get a DIN number for cannabis.
But then they said they could give a patient a DIN number.
Right, but that's only for insurance purposes. Okay. So that's what I think Blue Cross does for the veterans. Is they've given a DIN number to their medical cannabis.
Okay.
So then we looked at clinical trials. And when you look at clinical trials, the first thing that you realize is they were written by pharmaceutical companies. And they're written by pharmaceutical companies to make sure that little pharmaceutical companies could never compete. So if the pharmaceutical companies are running Health Canada, then the last thing they would ever allow is cannabis to be classified as an actual medicine.
Wow, that's absurd. Absurd. Yep. I have a question for Jack.
Well, I wanted to say I agree with you that there's always that risk of, I guess, what you'd call regulatory capture, and so I hear you.
Yeah.
I absolutely hear you. What was the question, Al?
With regards to advertising and stuff like that, there's been mention that they're going to ease up on that. They're going to tighten up on it. What's going to happen with things like that?
Their enforcement has been somewhat spotty, but I see no evidence of relaxation. I think it's much more likely you're just going to see lax enforcement of the current existing rules.
So what about things like with podcasts and stuff like that? We're openly talking about cannabis. We're showing pictures of cannabis. Our lifestyle is cannabis, and they don't want that. So what they're gonna?
No, you're not regulated, right? Okay. It's only if you're a licensed producer or a storefront who's actually selling cannabis identified by lot and batch number.
So we're not actually in the business. Well, some of us are. I mean, Lennie is, but.
Actually, yeah. So it turns into a freedom of expression issue, and the expression that you're engaging in here and that I'm participating in is protected under Section 2B of the Charter. That's the same with my books, right? They can't prohibit me from writing about cannabis. Right?
So they can't really start. They can't really stop us from advertising.
Advertising anything other than the sale of the actual product.
Oh,
right. Okay. If you're actually selling the product, then you're limited. And again, all of this comes down to litigation over freedom of expression. It's quite fascinating, but like you're bound by the rules of commercial expression, right? So you can communicate product availability and pricing, but that's it as far as your storefront is concerned.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw this past summer, as everything was opening up again, is some of the legal stores were removing any sign of cannabis from the actual store, which was allowing them to open up their windows. Right?
Really, the purpose of that is you can save on staffing expenses, because they used to make you have a staff member sit at the door and check ID. But if no cannabis is visible, then let people in.
But what about sampling, Jack? Do you ever think they'll have that, like they do with alcohol?
They currently have organoleptic sampling, so you can smell cannabis if people want to engage in it. But as far as you can get a federal organoleptic license.
These questions get better.
We're talking about something like that, right? I think Len fell asleep. Anyways, okay. You were talking about something like that a while back, and I can't remember what it was. Do you remember? No, he won't remember.
No.
God damn it.
Well, I just have my camera off, so I'm not looking at the screen.
That's okay. That's okay. It was pertinent too. Shit, we were talking about it. Oh well, it might come back to me later.
Yeah, no, I always wondered about that, Jack, about sampling, like how you can walk into the liquor store and they say, "Here, try this," and
that's what it was.
You try it. Well, could you come in? Could you go in and say? No, I suppose because you can't, because the levels of THC in your body would likely be more with even a 2 milligram chocolate, wouldn't it?
More than
That's
one.
One issue. That's one issue. Although they have no way of knowing, if you're driving or not, things like that. The real issue is consumption is prohibited in the store.
Even edibles.
I've drank liquor in the liquor store.
Yeah,
but not
the
Wine-
liquor.
wine
The liquor
tasting and stuff like
legislation. Yeah, the liquor legislation does not prohibit sample consumption. I think, so long as there's been a
Then they should
licensure
fix it
attached to
because they put cannabis stores in our liquor stores.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right?
I'm aware.
So I mean, it's
In fact, the
pretty
rules
fucking
actually
nasty.
say you're not even allowed to open the packaging inside the store
until you're off the property.
Yes, actually, at home, I believe.
So, and I remembered what we were talking about when down at Lyft, you were saying that in the future they're talking about allowing sampling at these big events, right?
No, I didn't say they're allowing to. I said that's what they have to do.
They have to do it.
Like no, for like Lyft and those things to survive.
Oh, for it to survive. Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't mean anybody.
No, the law's got to change, obviously, but no, like people are tired of just going to shows and talking about it. They want to be able to procure or try the products.
Is there anything in the future coming up for that, Jack?
So I've been encouraging event spaces to just go for it because I just don't see, as long as it's outdoor, I don't see why it should be prohibited. And so it'll either come by way of, litigation, or they just won't enforce the law, or they'll make an amendment that allows. Like, really, what I think is going to happen is they're going to start issuing special event licenses for cannabis events where you
they make more money.
Yeah.
When earlier this year, earlier in the summer, I attended the Kind Summer Fair at I guess it's the docks or somewhere down there, down by the water in Toronto, off of Cherry Street, and they had an area they called the session area, and they had tables and they had chairs and like couches and stuff like that. And they had sort of a bar set up with a DJ there, and somebody was serving beverages and something else. Now I don't know what all was in the beverages, but it was people were in there. It was the lounge, the session lounge.
Yeah.
Do you ever think concerts will be able to, like, because I know LPs can go to 19 plus events. Do you ever think they'd be allowed to sell their product there like they do alcohol?
What's the point?
Think that
you can't smoke it. You can't use it unless it's an edible.
No, Nova Scotia you can actually smoke if there's a smoking section.
You can only smoke at Budweiser stage as you come into the area just before the food is where you can have a smoke, and you see people smoking cannabis there all the time. But I was at a concert with David, and it was Bachman Cummings, and you would think that that's all you would smell. Sorry, I didn't take you, Jack. I decided to take the kid, and he loved it, but I did not smell or see any pot at all. I mean,
because they all took edibles.
Well, I ate a whole bunch, but it's like it's not a concert to me. You can't sit there and spark up a doobie and like rock out. Like if
not like when we were kids and we didn't have a smoking section, but we would do it anyway.
Do it anyways, and that's all you would smell.
Yeah.
But you go to Canada.
But as kids, we'd always wait until we smelled it before we'd light up.
Right. You wait for that person. You wait for the adult to pull it out first. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And he gets busted. Wasn't me, man. But did you go? Have you been to any concerts lately, Jack? Do you get time to go to concerts and stuff?
Lots, yeah. And I just wanted to say that I do think that consumption is going to work itself out. It's just slow right now, but I do imagine they're going to start having special event licenses.
Yeah, but is that more provincial, Jack, versus federal?
Yeah, it's provincial.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like currently, the closest way I can make it work is a federal organoleptic license allowing allowing you to try and use substances from the licensed facility. So I would get you the organoleptic license. So the feds say you're good to try it, and then I would need to figure out what the province says about it. And I'm going to talk with provincial lawyers about it sometime this year or early next year, and just see, because maybe like, you know, I would love to solve it without litigation, right? It would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Where are we with lounges, Jack? I keep seeing articles that they're trying something in Toronto. They're not trying something in Toronto, you know.
So the Hotbox just closed. So
yes, I heard. Yeah.
But
about that.
Ultimately, the way that I would do it would be the same: a federal organoleptic license, and then run it from your provincial location. So it is technically, it's feasible. It is feasible. I've yet to do one to completion, but I can see how it would work.
Wow.
So with that license, could an LP invite potential customers to come in and smell their products and stuff like that? Their samples? Yeah. If they had a lounge, or not a lounge area, but like a lobby area?
Yep. Yeah. That's why I like them. It's really cool. My fantasy would be for cannabis to get the same treatment as, say, wine in a special region, right? So you go, you have a nice meal, you get to smoke a couple of nice joints or eat a cool edible. It's like an experience, right? So our community gets to feel the same as whatever the wine snob community or whatever. So in my view, it's the organoleptic license. That's the overarching licensure required to achieve that objective.
Are you aware of any LPs in Canada that are currently offering that to their customers?
I don't know LPs that are offering it to their customers, but I've done them for LPs that people that work there just want to smoke some of the stuff they grow, and they don't want to get in trouble from Health Canada. So I've done the organoleptic license for them. So, but whether people are doing like farm to table type deals, I haven't seen one yet, but it's coming. BC, it'll happen in BC within the next 6 months, I think.
Wow.
Right on.
They hard to get one of them licensed, Jack?
Yeah. Nope, it's pretty easy.
Lennie, you taking notes?
I don't actually have to take notes. I know all about it.
I figured.
Oh no, there's a really cool role for it, but I'll get in trouble with my board if I say anything else about that. Put it this way: someone I know is very pro for it.
Pick your battles.
Basically.
Yep.
I put it this way: fuck it. I'll say what I would have had one 6 months ago if it was up to me.
I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
I think it's
crazy
awesome.
not to.
I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's great for marketing. I think it's great for promotion, but I was overruled, so let's leave it that way.
Are they gonna?
What do I know, though? Right?
Is this kind of like
don't even get me going.
Each grow facility can have a store front as well. Is that what that's about?
No, that's farm gate and retail. That's a different thing. But no, this is literally able to actually have persons
like myself to try products.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a staff person.
No, it could be like people that come in that want to buy product from us.
Try that.
Listen, I'll teach all the LPs why they should have it. You can actually bring in 10 or 20 people. They can test it. They can actually grade it and rate it. And if I want to take that said new product and offer to, say, an OCS, guess what? I had 20 people try it. This is their feedback. Helps you get listed. Secondly, you have 20 people like, holy fuck, you got to go try XYZ strain from these guys. It's so fucking awesome. Wait till you hit the market. It's great. Guess what? You have
advertising. You
have contests. Hey, who wants to be part of the next study or whatever you want to call the session? There's so much things that you can promote your cannabis using with, but I was told I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, so fuck off.
Yeah, Lennie, That just sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah, I was crazy.
Oh,
You must be out of your mind, Lenny.
I pretty much was. So anyway,
No,
maybe honestly, maybe they'll fire me Tuesday if they hear this, but I don't give a fuck.
Well, fuck. I wouldn't say that, Lenny. I would say that was that would be a smart move by any person. And they
just never thought of this. I just told them what to do, and they can do better than my company if they like. Go ahead.
I don't know. I agree with Lenny. It's fucking stupid.
It's a wonderful tool with anyone with any creativity can just do some amazing things. And Jack's right. It's I could have that in 45 to 60 days running.
So,
yeah, like I say, I know all about it. It's a source.
I think they're wonderful.
All the source spot.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh well, I guess that's what happens when you're run by donkeys.
Well, you shouldn't say that, Darcy. You work for them.
I really don't care, Lenny, because it's ridiculous with some of the stuff that goes on. That down the road 6 months later you try it and it's like, oh fuck, we should have did that then. Well, I've been telling you that for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, Darcy's high. If anyone's listening, leave him alone.
Yeah.
And his lawyer's here.
Yeah, and his lawyer's here. Stay the fuck away from Darcy. If you want to come after Lenny's a big boy. Let's go.
Yeah. Plus the lawyer's been listening to the whole thing, so he knows what was said.
No, it's a really cool license. No, it's a fantastic license. That's why I wasn't saying nothing, because I've already gone down this track, and
I forgot that you had talked about that a while back.
Well, to be honest, I'm bringing it in January anyway. I'm not listeing to people.
Well, you heard it here first. Coming.
No, it's coming.
Man, you can get it, and then if they hate it so much, you don't have to use it. But why the heck wouldn't you have it? It's the coolest thing.
Exactly. I mean, why would you cut your dick off right before the party?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
No, I'll be honest. If my board's listening, I'll tell everyone what's going on. I'm short a QA person for family matters, maternity leave. As soon as my QA person's back on Halloween, I'm starting the process. So
good for you. That's wonderful.
Unless they choose to fire me, which go right the fuck ahead. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. But
I don't think that'll happen either.
No, but yeah, no. Churro's going. I'm doing it.
Good for you, man.
But I was shut down a while back, and to be fair, I was short QA staff that are part of the licensing process. But I'm doing it.
Right. It sounds, it's how you can't talk about it, you can't share it, you can't promote it. How the fuck? I mean, but yet you have products that you want people to use. I don't get that.
So it's a wonderful, fun tool if you're creative with it. It's not just for staff. Right. It can be very valuable information.
Oh no, that's invaluable. It's an invaluable tool for your company, man.
So I'm hoping more people are going to try that. More LPs are going to try that. Okay, let's change the subject. Jack, let's talk about Canopy Corp.
Okay.
What?
Well, I want to know what the fuck. I mean, what happens to the stockholders? What happens to people that had faith in that company?
That's the stock market.
Oh, sorry. You mean just because the stock is doing so poorly, or?
Well, okay. So explain to us exactly what's going on there. Are they out of the cannabis business?
Oh, you're talking about that Tokyo Smoke story.
No, I'm talking. Yeah, well, but it's not just Tokyo. They're pulling themselves out of the market, are they not?
No, not to my knowledge.
No?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I thought they were just
Constellation Brands probably wishes they never made that investment.
Yeah.
Retail stores.
They
Yeah,
sold
smokes.
their interest in what had essentially turned into a franchising system for Tokyo Smoke stores. They've essentially sold it to the largest franchisee, which is a corporation in Alberta, and they sold it for peanuts. So it's as far as just like madness is concerned. I remember when Canopy purchased Tokyo Smoke and said, okay, yeah, Tokyo Smoke is going to be sort of our flagship storefront brand. And they paid almost $1 billion for it. And I remember thinking, how stupid is that? I go, they own a fancy coffee maker and 2 10-year leases in Toronto. That's it. It's not $1 billion corporation. Are you out of your mind? And oh man, I remember when they opened those Tokyo Smokes, I used to go there with my weed books. And I go, you got to stock these weed books. You love cannabis, right? And that, like, they were like, who is this guy with this weird? We don't want any cannabis books in here. What the hell? I was like, what kind of a head shop is this? Like douchebags. But and then 3 years later they get bought for whatever $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's madness. But the reality of it was it wasn't a particularly sustainable model. Like I've consistently said that I don't think that the franchising system that they were implementing in Ontario, in my opinion, it was functioning by way of these operating agreements that, in my view, were illegal. But it's Canopy; they get away with it. So, but they sold it for a song and a dance. So ultimately, but they're not out of the cannabis game. They're still producing cannabis. They're just they're just doing their thing.
Yeah, I get it. Well, thanks for filling us in on that, because the way the articles we're reading was, they're quitting the business.
Well, here's another reason why it failed. In an ideal world, an LP growing product, that seed to sale model, it's nice to own your own dispensary. But here's the problem: your cannabis doesn't really sell that great.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make sense for them. Like it just, like you can put all that Canopy product in there, then no one goes to it. So they end up carrying other LPs products that are selling, and it just didn't work out for them.
And in Ontario, in Ontario, they amended the rules on LP control on forward-facing products. So, like it used to be that the LPs could say, "Look, we own 49% of this store or whatever. We only want Canopy products listed at this store." They changed that in July in Ontario. So
that seemed. I actually thought that was they should. If Canopy wanted to do it, let them do it. But whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it was helping their Tokyo Smoke stores, frankly.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're not going to have some of the premier craft brands, like people aren't going to go to your store anyway.
Nope.
So,
ship. I'm going to say it. Ship product is ship product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've smoked. No, I'll be totally honest. I smoked a lot of legal cannabis, and Canopy was always the shittiest tasting one. I found all their weed tastes the same, and it burnt black. That's my opinion.
I've tried a few things from Tweed, and it's very dry, usually.
Hey, in case you guys haven't done any surveys or anything with government of Canada,
yes,
they've changed the genders now.
Oh God, are we going down here?
No, you get man, woman, two-spirit, trans man, trans woman, non-binary, which would be gender queer, is how they got it.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm staying out of this conversation.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it has so many options.
Okay.
They should say dick or no dick. Just make it simple for everybody.
That does simplify a lot of things.
There's a reason why we have a disclaimer.
That's right. It's my views. I'm sorry. I mean, I have no problem. I have lots of gay friends, and I don't think I have any trans friends. I might. I don't know. I don't ask because really, I don't fucking care. You're a person.
I just the list keeps getting longer. I guess is why I kind of laugh at.
Two-spirit has existed in Canada since before Canada was a country, of course.
Before white people got here.
Certainly, yeah. So I don't. I hear what you're saying. For lawyers was very interesting, but there's a practice direction in British Columbia that lawyers are required to identify our preferred pronouns prior to addressing the court. And
Really?
And so it was something that I really struggled with. It's almost like
that's kind of to me. That should be a violation of your privacy. Maybe you don't want to identify.
Right. Right, and that was largely the concern because, so as a lawyer, like I cannot lie, right? So it would be a violation of my professional obligations.
Wait, lawyers don't lie? Sorry, Jack. I'm just
and people don't like that, but it is true. Like I cannot knowingly express a falsehood to the court. And so the answer to that is always, well, just just make it up or just participate in this mandatory speech, like this compelled speech we're making you do. And I worry, like it doesn't, it's not such a big deal for me, but if say someone really didn't want anyone to know what their pronoun really is, that's something deeply private that they didn't want to reveal, logically, now they're being compelled to do so. And the response is, well, look, they can just say whatever they want. It doesn't matter. And I find that so disingenuous and problematic, right? Because you're basically like, it does matter, right? Like someone's gender or how they feel about their gender or how they experience their gender is really important. And like at the very least in the context of lawyers, when we have a professional obligation not to lie, I just find it deeply problematic. And so what ends up happening is they'll say, well, look, if you don't identify your pronouns, we're going to refer to you as they. And for me, that's fine. I have no problem. You can call me she or they, whatever you want.
You call me it.
Yeah, sure. But don't compel me to say some deeply private information. And it's much more important, say it's someone that is closeted or has not revealed to the world certain deeply personal pieces of information. Like the last thing that I would want someone to do is to be forced to do that. So I really struggled with that. I think it's going to turn into some who's the French theorist, Michel Foucault or whatever. It's going to turn into some big demolition of language. It's anyway, it's a very complicated issue, but it should be approached as carefully and honestly as possible, I would say. But I don't think that compelled speech is the right way to address it.
Compelling people makes no sense to me. If someone calls you something and pardon me, do you mind referring to me this way? Oh, I'm sorry. You correct it. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what I'm more about. Like no hate for anyone, but it's like you gotta designate this or this. Is like holy shit.
Yeah, well, I will say, I spoke with a doctor about it, and they said from a healthcare perspective, the idea is to try to make people as comfortable as possible and to make things as inclusive as possible so that people are participating in a fulsome way in their for health outcomes, like for physicians and stuff like that. But like for me as a lawyer, I'm in a room full of criminal defense lawyers, like the inclusive, like we're about to go to war over some crazy stuff. I'm not entirely sure this is the perfect forum for compelled speech designed to make people feel safer. It's like, I don't know.
See, my whole thing was I would have changed the form and kept it a lot simpler. humans are either XX or XY. Doesn't matter your sexual orientation or non-sexual or whatever. Like I would, and to me, even as like a science or healthcare professional, the hormone, like it just to me is like, what do you identify as a biological XX or like take the male female out? Just that's the way I would have done it.
Yeah, I think it's a real learning process to figure out. And I say this because I've represented lots and lots of trans persons and dealt with lots of really, really serious trans issues. And the rates of murder and suicide amongst the trans community are astronomically higher than the rates for any other
100%.
group. And so I take that very seriously, that any effort we can take as a society to help that particular vulnerable community is like great, like that we should be taking those steps. But again, like compelled speech, I get a little funny, and I can't shake that. And so I think I'm almost going to be reading Michel Foucault as like a self-help guide to navigate these new rules. I don't know, but ultimately, I think it's taking us to a better, more inclusive place. So I hear what you're saying.
Oh yeah, no, and then I don't know what's fake news or like, is there kids identifying as cats or something like that?
Oh yeah, they can identify as rabbits. You can identify as a bird.
Yeah,
There's people were talking about this on Facebook a couple weeks ago. There's a school in New Brunswick. I guess there's a couple schools in New Brunswick, but there's one school in particular has a litter box in the classroom.
Yeah, I still don't believe that. I think that's fake news.
For the furries. And then others chimed in that saying, oh, our school has it too. And then our school has it too. And these were the teachers saying this.
The furries? What furries?
The kids that identify as being a fucking cat.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So they get litter boxes.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if it's true or not, and I just feel.
I'll tell you right now, folks. If your kid identifies as a cat, you fucked up.
Well, they might need some psychologists or
but I mean,
a little assistance. I don't want to say.
Nip that in the bud before they got to fucking school.
I think if you're getting that type of advice from our weed podcast, you have bigger problems.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe that. I can't. I mean, look, you can identify with whatever you want, but
people can do whatever they want. Although identifying as an animal is that seems to be definitely a mental health issue to me. I'm sorry.
But what about people that marry their dogs or their cats?
I put that back into the mental health aspect.
But I really love my dog.
Like I say, sexual preference. That's not a mental health thing. That's a preference. That's a choice. That's within your.
Now,
this way, you have to.
There's some that would disagree with you there.
No, they're wrong. But listen, you have to. When you start going cross species, they're having issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, Jack's got to get going. He's got an appointment he's got to get to.
Oh no! I'm okay for a little bit longer.
Okay.
I just I have a trial starting, and I realized I was missing something, so I'm just frantically searching my desk for
You
it.
bow out when you need to. How's that? Okay, well that's great. So continue.
Oh no, we can switch off this topic.
Yeah, we can switch off this topic, please.
I was gonna take you guys out and show you my garden, and then I realized something. There's no lights out there.
It's dark.
It's
dark.
You know what? It's not just dark here. It's
dark.
Pitch fucking black. You cannot see a thing in my backyard, including
no
the
stars.
Would you ever get northern lights up there, Al?
Yes, but not lately. It's supposed to be right now, but it's been so fucking cloudy at night that, like, I went out last night at about 4:00, and you can just the stars were out, but it's too cloudy to see anything.
That is a bucket list thing of mine someday.
Yes.
To see the Northern Lights?
Yeah.
You can go up a little bit further up. You'd see. Have you ever seen the Northern Lights, Jack?
You know what? I have not. No. How far north are you? Like,
I'm in Terrace Bay, which is 2 hours, I guess, south of or north of Thunder Bay. We're right at the top of the lake.
Oh wow! So you're really far north. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's way up.
I'm waiting to hear about some Santa Claus reports.
Yeah,
I'm doing my beer and I'm going all Santa.
Yeah.
I saw the Northern Lights in '81, but I had to look south to see them.
You're basically what, 13 hours north of Toronto?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. 2.5 hours to go along the highway there to Thunder Bay, past the Terry Fox statue.
I drove by that thing.
It's different up here, and
a little more laid back.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, it's a very busy little town. We're right on the highway.
Actually, I got a quick question for Jack, cannabis related, which could be interesting, good or bad.
Go ahead.
Jack, would a medical sales license holder be able to get the sensory license?
So my position is yes. It remains to be seen.
Lennie, I know what you're doing.
But I've been speaking, like, my position is that a retail, so if you are a private retail sales license holder in Ontario, that you can, so my position is that we might as well try, right? The medical sales license, my position as well is, like, their position is going to be, well, listen, this is supposed to be, like, because the organoleptic license.
To be for testing your product, exactly.
Yeah. So.
Wait. Protesting your product?
Testing.
Oh, I thought you said protesting.
No, testing. Sorry. If I did say protesting, I'm sorry.
But if you can get licensed to test other people's products.
So that's the idea. And so it remains to be seen if it would work, but that is the idea ultimately for the organoleptic license for a storefront. And my thinking was that if I could do it and get a federal approval, then I'm one step closer to having basically licensed consumption at a storefront, right? Which is the model that we want. So I've tried. Clients seem they get sort of cold feet as it's because if it goes wrong, you might end up with like a pretty serious problem with the provincial government, right? So ultimately, I hear what you're saying, Lennie, that I'll never be able to do it, but rest assured, I've been told that before. So I want to try and see.
Well, I own the license to do it if we really want to get creative.
Well, I love hearing that. So I absolutely love hearing that. So, but so that's my theory is to
somebody's going to be talking to each other next week.
Oh, maybe. I was wondering it because I say it's interesting because now I'm not it's not a cultivation license. But I do think there's a role for a medical patient that maybe you do bring them in and there are a couple of them here. Why don't we try these various products and get your feedback so we can pass it on to other patients?
Yeah. And so that would be the idea. I think it could work. I really do. And really, so ultimately, like I do the thought experiment. Okay. So we apply. All right. We've applied for the organoleptic license. The worst thing they could do is to reject it. If they reject it, they have to issue me a notice of proposal to refuse to issue the license, and I can judicially review it. So I can then go in front of a judge and say, okay, they say that this special license is only for what? For like testing is testing, right?
Yeah.
And like if they want to make a suggestion that we're really creating some consumption lounge, then they can make that suggestion, but they don't have any evidence of that. And I think a judge would agree and say, no, they can have their license, like unless you change the the terms of the licensure, which of course, knowing Health Canada, if and when
That's
we
what they
win
would
this
do.
case, they would immediately do it. But if I could win one, I think it would be wonderful.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's really, really buzzed. And somebody is sitting there pushing those little bubbles. Bursting bubbles is what it sounds like.
Who's doing that?
I don't know. I think it's Marcel.
It's not me.
Are you trimming Darcy?
No, I'm sitting here at the table, quiet as a church mouse.
No, it sounded like a pair of scissors to me.
Marcel.
Nope. I rolled on my joint.
I'm not
before the show.
moving. I'm literally just sitting perfectly still.
So it must be Dale.
It's not me. I'm smoking.
Jesus. Well, then
somebody's. Are you blowing smoke in your microphone?
No.
No.
Not me.
No, is Dale blowing smoke into his microphone?
Al did it. You see, every time he's such a troublemaker. Every time he comes on.
Now, back to the cannabis review. The two things that I've been hearing is you're going to get a higher THC limit for edibles, and probably going to see CBD get put into pharmacies.
Well, that was something I also wanted to ask Jack. Where are we with CBD? I mean, like we're at the point where people are just doing it. Just like shrooms, people are just doing it.
Well, I've represented a fair number of people that are getting in pretty serious issues with CBD just because it's classed the same as THC. But I agree with Lennie that I do think that we're going to see amendments to the percentages in edible products, and with CBD, they had released a big memorandum on cannabis health products, which was focused primarily on CBD, and I think they're going to go through with that. My fantasy would be that they allow it to be sold just in health food stores and things of that nature, but I'm not certain. Like, I do think that
that's what it sounded like, that they were going to allow stores to sell it.
Yeah, my gut feeling is they don't want to be the US where it's all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And I am a pharmacist, and I know my pharmacy lobbyist fuckers are wanting it, right? So I think they want this will be their first step to get medical cannabis in the pharmacies.
Yeah.
If that happens, they better remove the taxes.
No, I don't think it'll go into. I don't think it'll be prescription CBD. They'll put it over the counter out front.
It'll be out front. You should be available, like everything from suppositories to facial creams, all types of things. Like we're seeing those here in Ontario recreational stores, and I believe we've talked about the suppository things in the past, but there's one store near me that has a wellness section.
Yeah,
which is that tells you the medical end of things. So I could see the not only the lotions and creams but other products being in the pharmacies like Lennie's, where people can go up to don't have to prescription, just get it off of a shelf.
So you're not allowed to sell CBD products yet, Len?
No, it's only in your provincial regulated whatever cannabis dispensary
or the corner store in downtown.
Yeah, everything is regulated through the provincial wholesalers.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
Quick question for you. Here's a big question. What do you think they're gonna do with the down here? It's the Mi'kmaq, but just the native Canadians in the indigenous with cannabis, because they all have dispensaries, and the product is coming from all over. So what do you think? Do you think they'll pursue them more to try to tighten them up to buy legal products, or do you think they'll just make them have their own grows on their own territory?
Well, that that fight is ongoing. I'm counsel on a number of criminal files defending storefronts. So my position is that there is a sui generis right for Indigenous peoples to produce, consume, and trade cannabis. Certainly, those peoples have been interacting with the plant since long before European invaders came to North America. So that's my position. But whether or not the government acquiesces to that, I think is a hot button issue.
Well, just with everything that's going on.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen, and the fight is going to just continue. I'm so involved with the litigation right now, and I don't know how. I'm not going to provide a balanced view of it because
no.
I think I'm right and the government is wrong.
Of course, but no. I was just wondering, do you think the government, would kind of step back a little bit with everything that's going on with Indigenous in Canada?
So I hope so, but I doubt it.
Okay.
Actually, there's something local that just happened this week, I believe, on the Millbrook Reserve. The RCMP and some tax revenue people raided a dispensary there.
Yeah.
And where? Millbrook?
Yeah, it's a high-grade smoke shop or something, I think it's called.
Yeah, is that in Ontario or is that down east?
Here in Nova Scotia.
No, it's in Millbrook, Nova Scotia.
Okay. Yeah, I just see Jack on the screen, so I'm not sure where it's
just the one?
Right.
Just the one, Chris Gugu's.
Ooh,
the high-grade
really?
smoke shop one. Yeah, when they're getting them for taxes and shit.
Wow.
Taxes. Oh, that's how they shut down Capone.
Don't they pay their taxes to the band?
It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how they're coming after him for tax stuff, but they had tax people there with the RCMP when they raided him.
No,
it's not normally that you'd ever hear any of the natives being charged for taxes.
Indigenous, yeah, it's odd.
Yeah,
I don't know the whole story.
I know, for example, like in a dispensary situation, like the ones in Toronto, the bigger ones in Vancouver and stuff like that. Some of the guys of all the businesses have been charged for not having paid their taxes, and I don't know on the Indigenous end whether they could get them for that, but obviously they did on the legal end of things.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Ted, he was one of them.
Yeah, two things in life you'll never get away from: paying your taxes and death.
And death, that's right.
And your student loan.
And your student loan, yeah. Good thing I never took one of those.
Yeah. Likewise. Didn't get that far.
Here's one about Indigenous stuff. Is there any truth to this, Jack, that legal stores are going to reservations to try and open up legal stores as opposed to allowing them to open up Indigenous stores? And by doing that, the bans are not allowing them to open up non-legal stores. Is that anything to that?
You basically described what's just happened here at Escazone.
Yeah.
So in
we'll see that.
Escazone, Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation put a liquor store in on the reserve and said that they won't open the cannabis part until all of the dispensaries on the reserve are closed.
Mm.
So now the chief is trying to have them all closed and thrown off so they can open up their cannabis stores. So they're going to have a big ass legal battle again.
Yeah.
So
because I know some of the reserves here they had the opportunity, or some of them have opened some of the old OCS connected stores on the reserves, but that was the band councils that decided that.
There's supposedly there's one.
Supposedly, what happened in Escazone, it wasn't the band council; it was the chief. So
Oh,
this is why it's getting a little ridiculous. I guess the chief owns the land, and he leased it to Nova Scotia Liquor to put the store on it, and then turn around and send out a letter, or had the RCMP deliver a letter telling all of the dispensaries that they had to close.
Wow.
So I would expect that Escazone, being the largest reserve in the province, is going to have a shakeup.
yeah. I guess it comes down to.
I thought it was legal.
What was legal? Cannabis?
Yeah.
Yeah. It became legal when they added more laws or more criminal offenses to it. This wasn't legalization. This was just a cash grab.
Wow.
And it's worked, but I mean, look at the LPs that according to CRA are haven't been paying their taxes and are closing because they can't afford to pay millions and millions in these excise taxes. Lennie's upset because he doesn't know how they're getting away with it, because Lennie pays their taxes. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. There's a certain point you have to register and get your excise stamp like fee or license every year, and they will stop sending you excise stamps.
Yeah.
So I'm not figuring that out.
So all they're doing is they're paying the fee, and then they're getting the stamps for free. Well, I'm not getting them for free.
No,
they're
but
not paying for them either.
You have to order your stamps. Like, you only get so many stamps, and you have to order them every month or two. And my point is, if I don't pay my fee, the company, CBN, I believe it's who it's called, or I can't remember, they will not send me stamps.
Oh.
So I don't know what the fuck.
It's kind of like if you don't pay your 407 bill, you're not getting insurance next year.
Yeah. So so when I hear that they're not paying their fees, I don't understand how they're getting their stamps to keep selling. So I am confused.
Yeah.
Fusion.
I again, I'm a good honest Canadian. I pay my fucking taxes, right or wrong. But so that's a whole other the other aspect of it. But the excise stamp or the excise got to change anyway. It's too high. Heard a very good quote. The only people making money in the Canadian cannabis space is the government.
It's true.
That I agree with. Yeah.
Like LPs in general are not making money. Some make a little bit of money, like pay your bills and survive, but nothing. Like no one's getting rich. That's for sure. Dispensaries as well. Like, they're not killing it.
No,
I don't think you can make
20 million they made for the OCS.
Yeah, I don't think you can make money with a legal store, just one store with staff and everything. I don't think you're going to make much money.
A couple probably are, but again, it's
well, yeah.
hard.
If you're a big shop and you've got multiple shops,
you
might, but you're not going to make $1 million. I just had this conversation with somebody up here who was thinking about opening up a store here, and I was like, you're not going to make $1 million with one store, right, Jack?
Well, it depends. There's lots of different, things that can happen. But I've had some unexpected clients do great with legal stores and stuff like that. You just never know. But I think if you're going to open a cannabis store, you should just really love running a cannabis store. And most of my clients that have found the most success love cannabis. They love running a weed store, and they're having a blast.
Yeah, like you like honestly, I would do it more as a mom and pop thing. Like, you probably make enough, pay your salary, enjoy your time, but are you going to get rich at doing it? Probably not for the most of them.
Yeah, but you're going to make a living.
Well, hopefully, yeah, it can be done.
It depends. Like, the city is way oversaturated, but yet up here, the closest cannabis store is 45 minutes in Marathon, south of here. Or in Thunder Bay. There is a store on the res in Wawa. I'm not sure if it's an LP store or not. And that's it. And it puzzles me why there's no reservation cannabis huts here, because there's reses all over the place up here. In between every town, there's 4 or 5 different reservations, but there's no cannabis. No. Lots of gas, lots of cigarettes.
No
So why don't you open a legal store in Terrace Bay, Al?
Yeah, sure. I'll get right on it. There's actually one coming to Terrace Bay. I'll be interested to see what happens with that. When, I don't know.
Maybe you could have a radio show at their grand opening.
There you go. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We were going to do that at Canna Cabana, weren't we? We didn't. So, we're getting close to the end of the show, and I wanted to make sure that Jack lets us know what he's been up to, because we really haven't asked him what you've been up to lately, other than lawyerly stuff. Are you still doing the normal thing and all that?
Yeah. So still, I've always worked with Normal Canada, so I'm still with Normal Canada. You can check us out. We're going to be at a couple of festivals in the next little while, so you can just check out our Twitter. That's where we'll announce it, Normal Canada. I'm Jack Lloyd Lawyer on Twitter, and if you want to look at my books, you can check us out at all good bookstores and of course Amazon. We're called Green Candy Press.
Yeah, man. And I need to talk to you about a book, buddy, because I ain't gonna find one up here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. I've got a new cookbook coming out, I think. One sec. Let me see.
Another one?
Yeah. So we did the psilocybin cookbook, and then I think that there's a new marijuana chef cookbook coming out, and then we were trying to do the Ganja Kitchen Revolution as well. But let's see. I should have had this prepared. It's been so busy.
No. We're just laid back here. You know that, buddy.
So I'm just looking. Yeah, here we go. I think it's probably the next release is going to be the new edition of the Grow Bible that we're working on. So anyway, lots of fun books.
Well, please make us, you usually let us know when there's new stuff. So I know you're busy, but when you got new stuff, let us know and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to.
We love
Cheers,
your
guys.
books.
Cheers. It's always a pleasure to speak to all of you, and onwards and upwards, guys.
All right.
We're going to let Jack go. You take care,
Bye,
buddy.
Jack.
See you next
Bye,
time.
guys.
Thank you very much,
as
bud.
always.
I love when Jack
All
is
right,
here.
Darcy, quick grow segment.
Okay, there you go. I'll make a video tomorrow so that we can show it next week of what's going on out back.
You what?
Is Darcy still there?
I think Darcy left. Darcy.
I don't know. We just see you, Al.
I guess it's on to Dale. How we grow the weed, Dale.
How do we grow the weed, Dale?
Your harvest all done, Dale?
What's that?
Your harvest all done?
No, I've got there's 2 left out there trying to finish.
Oh yeah.
I got the others all in now.
Actually, let me ask. Hey, you guys are growers.
Kind of.
Marcel and Dale, give me your opinion. How do you guys? Any tips for the growers out there since Darcy left? How to increase terpenes?
How to increase terpenes?
Yeah.
Harvest before light.
What was that?
Harvest before the sun comes up.
Yeah,
Really?
or
Terpenes
do
at
it
their
after
peak
the
in the
sun
dark
goes
period.
down. Right?
Yeah.
If you harvest at nighttime, you get peak terpenes, but you can increase the terpenes ahead of time. There's a couple different products that you can use, and the one that I really liked, we had them on the show, was Soil Balance Pro out of Texas, I think.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. They guarantee 600% increase in terpenes.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It's not cheap, but a little bit goes a long way too.
So what's the key? You know, and you must have analyzed it.
Well, what this is just all beneficial bacteria. And it goes right into the feed system for the roots, and breaks down the macro and micronutrients into something easier to be uptaken. They're testing it, so a lot of growers started using this when it first came out, and they were winning based off of smell alone at cups because of the terpenes that they were getting off of these things. Molasses will increase your terpenes.
That's just because of the sugar?
Yeah, well, it's no, because molasses, it's got the sugar in it, but what it also does is it acts as a chelation, which means that it feeds the bacteria that break down the macro and micronutrients
Exactly.
for the uptake, right? But
You're
then
basically
now
feeding
I
them
learned
cereal.
today that they use molasses around fruit trees to keep bugs away from the fruit
Would that work
because
with
it kills the bugs.
You're stuck in it.
Will that
That's
work
what I
with
think.
cannabis?
Pardon?
Will that work with cannabis?
Well, I mean, I've been using molasses in feeding schedules probably 15 years.
Okay.
I like it. It's you notice a difference if I did one pot doing molasses compared to another pot. I notice a difference just in the root structure alone from those two pots if they're the same strain. And the molasses has a much more widespread root structure.
Have you done full-blown living soil yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you like that?
In all honesty, not what it claims. The first time I tried it, they guaranteed me that I wouldn't have to add any nutrients and I'd have the same volume. So I did a side by side. And I was so disappointed halfway through flowering that I started giving it additives and food just to try and have some bulk so it didn't look so pitiful. This year I tried one of the living soils outdoors, and I ended up during veg starting to feed it on my regular feed cycle, but I was told I wouldn't have to feed it. So no, I'm not, for the amount of money that they're charging for them and what they're claiming, I don't think they're worth it.
Have you built your own soil?
Yes, I did that for years, and it's just a lot of work. But really, my go-to now is the Pro Mix General Purpose, and it says it's got enough feed in it for 6 months. It's maybe for a tomato, but even then I'd want tomatoes, so I'd still feed it. I find that soil is as good as what I used to make myself.
You know what? One of the things
I've been growing living soil for years.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people love it. And it's easy. I mean, you get it, you throw it in the pot, you put your plant in, and you go. When I was mixing soil, I'd have literally bags of peat moss, bags of perlite, bags of vermiculite, bags of compost, bags of manure, all laying out onto a tarp and then mixing them together.
Mixing them together, yeah.
And then filling pots.
I've seen that. They have Pro Mix for garden and herbs.
Yeah, same thing. Well, there's an organic one.
Yeah.
I mean, ProMix got a lot of different products. I mean, you get ProMix HP, which is a good product, but again, the ProMix General Purpose. The reason I like it is if I'm busy and I miss a feeding, it's not a big deal, right? So it's not like if I was running just Cocoa Quar, get on the feeding schedule, you want to feed it every time with that feeding schedule, right?
They do have one with cocoa core mixed in it.
Oh, I know. But I mean just plain cocoa core, nothing else in it.
Oh yeah. I've never
I
grown
used
just straight cocoa core.
I used that stuff that you suggested, Marcel. I used it once, and I've just been flushing. I haven't used anything else. So would that be considered organic?
Pretty much, yeah.
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 Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All
See,
I could find.
listen, really though, when you get down to it,
chicken
Al,
manure.
organic isn't even organic. So I mean,
I know. It's just like, is it a kush or is it not a kush?
yeah, pretty much.
It all depends. Well, you got adding chemicals in your water and stuff like that too, right? Like the municipal water, that wouldn't be considered organic.
I haven't added anything other than the chicken stuff that Marcel told me to get because they had it Canadian Tire.
And municipal waters can have fluoride to other chemicals that are in there. And as I say, try to boil it out with an air bubbler, but there's still some chemicals can't come out.
Yeah. Well, you can smell when
I was using a one of those boogie filters, boogie something. It was a water filter.
Oh yeah.
That you could attach to your hose.
Yeah.
Just so you know, guys, we got to wrap up soon because we're on a time restraint.
I've grown
with new system
with well water, and I've grown with town water, which has chlorine in it, and I never saw a discernible difference between the two over all the years of growing. A lot of people will run town water that has chlorine in it and fluoride in it, let the water sit for 24 hours before they use it, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as water and chlorine meet air, the chlorine starts to evaporate.
Yeah. People would put it in water jugs and just leave the cap off so that it could evaporate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
when you stir it and agitate it, that helps the gas off too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if I grow inside in a tent, then I have my reservoir filled with water that's feeding my auto pots, and I have another 5 gallons of water sitting open. So that by the time that I've got to fill up that reservoir, there's no chlorine left in that water. So it's just an easier way to do it. Then I don't have to worry about chlorine, but I don't really worry because outdoors I run off the garden hose.
And where's that water come from?
Municipal water. So it's going to have chlorine, fluoride in it, and water the plants, and the plants are happy to see it.
I used rainwater this summer outside.
I've used rainwater. I couldn't collect it this year because the last storm. Well, last year's storm took out the eaves trough to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna use rainwater next year, and I haven't done anything with pH or checking or anything. I'm gonna wait till we're playing inside to do that. I just
it's more important inside you get that right.
You still have some of that chicken shit left, right?
I got lots of it. I only used 1/4 cup.
Okay, good. So next year or your next grow,
you'll use that until I get the anything else. I'll use that.
Yeah. No, you're going to use that plus.
Okay.
So what we'll do is when you go to fill your pots, we're going to mix this shit into the soil that you're putting into the pots.
Okay.
And then you're still going to go through the regular feeding schedule and get bigger plants.
Okay.
Because that chicken shit's going to basically provide you a lot of nutrients in between your feedings.
Okay. Cool.
Right? That's kind of like this reason I like using the Pro Mix general purpose.
Because you can add stuff to it.
You have to add to it. If you want big plants and big buds, then you have to add to it.
Oh yeah. There's not enough food to last forever.
No.
Pro Mix.
Even though it says that it's 6 months worth of food, that might be 6 months worth of food for your daisies out front of your house. But definitely not to run a cannabis plant.
Cool. Cool. We got to go, guys.
Yeah, cool.
Otherwise, we're gonna lose our extra like Al did.
Yeah.
4 seconds, man. I lost 4 seconds.
Say goodnight. No,
Hey.
we missed it.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.